All right, y'all. Welcome to the program. Just a quick review for all of y'all who don't know about this is Qigong, standing energetic meditation, right? It's a physical meditation. And if you watch all my videos from the beginning and the lives, from in chronological order, then you will get the progression, right? And the proof, right? And the truth of what I'm saying. But to be open to it, right, you have to clear your mind, which is why we do this Qigong. And not only does it clear your mind, but it is healthy, right? It's good for your body. It blows out the pipes, in a real subtle way, right? It's not explosive at all. The intention of this broadcast is to teach y'all how to do Qigong, and so that you can recognize the benefits, and also to broadcast the message, right? To broadcast the message, and the message is that it's hard to say the message because every word that I use is fucking, been co-opted and cliched, and everyone thinks they know what you're talking about when you say these words. But it's the trap of language, right? There's no actually saying what it is, but we can come close, right? We can, through words, get the feeling, right, of what it is. And that's what I always say, right, is that what it is a superposition, right? It's not one thing. It's a superposition of two things. So we do the standing. I want you to be able to see my feet. Do the standing Qigong, which is this Taoist training method for the body, right? You bend your legs, you get in horse stance, and your feet are shoulder width. You drop your knees down and turn your hips under, right? Without flexing your glutes. And you do that by pushing your lower spine out and your upper spine in. So the whole deal here is to straighten your spine, right? So that the energy can flow. I can't tell y'all what to do, and I can't tell y'all how to think, but what I'm saying is not opinion, right? It's not my opinion, right? It's a knowing, right? It's a knowing, right? And once you comprehend it, then you know, and you can flip that switch to create the psychological transformation that is required for us to live as we were intended, right? And so that's the whole motherfucking purpose of this shit, is to allow, right? This allowance of living as we were intended as a collective, right? As the sacred intent of our purpose, right? And so I'm saying all my shit before I do the fucking standing. Let's do the stand and then we'll talk. So 18 breaths. Hands like you're hugging a tree. Straighten the spine. Turn the hips under without flexing the glutes. Bend the knees so that your knees obscure your toes. Make a bow with your arm, not an L, right? A bow, right? As much as possible, right? In front of your navel. Chin down and extend your spine upward. It's not a physical extension. It's a subtle intention, and your body will respond to your intent. Right? So breathe all the way out, and then we breathe in 3 breaths with hands like this, 3 breaths with hands like this, and then we do the same in front of our heart, and then the same um, parallel around our third eye. So 18 breaths, it's no big deal. And while you're doing it, so I want you to see me from the side. Right? That's what it looks like. So all y'all who can't look at something, look at another person's body and then mimic their body position. You just work on it. Right? But all y'all who can do that, well then fucking do it. I'm not today is not a great day. I'll just say that. But I'm showing up. Now in front of your heart, arms in bow position, hands not like this, but supple, but separate, right? Not like this, separate. Chin down. All right, let's do one more breath. Yeah. my mundane self, my lower self, right? It's not having a good day. But I have to let it go. Hopefully, I can make it through this shit. I can definitely feel something, man. Feel something. So, you guys, y'all, I'm gonna start with the flute. See if I can fucking get this low octave. So yeah, there's the signal right there. Spirit says I'm not fucking in alignment. I don't know what to say about that. You know, it's like I try to stay high vibe despite this dumpster fire. It ain't easy, and not every day goes the same. But I'm showing up here because perhaps there's something that can come through anyway. You know. So, right, to review the whole message, right? It's a fucking simple message, right, that I have. And it's that we're lied to about our nature, right? And that we live under that assumption, that lie. And that lie colors all of our interactions and in our relationships. And we exchange fucking. Uh, and so in this exchange, which is how we live, we're operating on the notion, right, that everyone is separate, like that this isn't a collective endeavor, like that human beings are not social creatures, and that we don't live by fucking exchanging with each other, right? Right. So the lie is that that our nature is to compete, right? Our nature is to be the winner, right? Our nature is to make sure that this, right, whatever this individual is, has its life secured. And so we're all operating in survival mode, like on aggregate, right? And despite society buffering us from the wiles, the uncertainty of living it straight um, um, interaction with nature, because we live in society, we don't have that constant threat, right? But we operate in society like the threat still exists and everyone else is a threat to us, right? But the only way that we can survive is that it's because of everyone else. It's the most radical cognitive dissonance. And so I've already proved this, right? So this is just review again. And for the last 5 or 6 shows, I've been going back over it because yeah, my small self, my lowercase I, is because it's not generating the response, right, that my lowercase I wants, and then I'm having doubts, right? Not doubts about the message, just doubts about whether or not I can reach anyone, right? And that whether or not this is even something that's worthy, right? And so today it's really bad. But, right, I have this expression where I say, you got to die to live, right? And that's what I got to do. I got to take my own advice. I got to stop asking for anything, right? stopped expecting anything, and just grind, I guess. It's like, and have patience, right? But not stopping, not I'm continuing on this mission, right? I won't stop, and I can't stop, which is why, even though I feel bad today that I'm talking to y'all, uh, I trained, right? Yesterday I went skiing. Fucking only second day all season skiing. The rest of the days have been snowboarding. But skiing is way more intense and more difficult than snowboarding. And it takes a lot more power, right? A lot more light power. Um, and so I'm feeling it, right, today. And feeling a lot of stuff. Right, we want our lives to go okay so that we don't have to suffer constantly, right? But if I hadn't suffered the way I have and continue to do so, then I wouldn't have uh, come. I wouldn't have been able to acquire the knowledge, right, and also to do the work that has allowed me to make that psychological transformation. Which is that value, right, is unlimited. That's what you recognize when you make the psychological transformation. The opposite of that is that value is scarce, right? But and that there's a limited supply, and that, right, you better get yours before someone else gets it. Right. Once you realize that that's the lie, right? That's what keeps the pattern going. Then you don't do that anymore. And in your relationship with others and the world, you don't operate like everyone's trying to get something from you, right? I operate like I'm trying to provide a service, right, to humanity. I am offering up an exchange, right, of value, right? And this society, the one we have, this civilization doesn't want or need that, right? It's not required, right, for it to continue. Doesn't, you know, what I want to do is actually a threat to the current civilization. But I don't want to destroy it or burn it down, right? You can't fight it. That's the thing. That's what I've been describing, right? Is that no matter what we do inside, right, we can't fix it. It's broken, and there's a limit to the behavior, right? There's a limit to the repeated cycle that we continually repeat as a civilization, right? And if you just look at history, you can see that. That's a fact, right? And so whatever we think we do that's positive, and this, I'm not talking about creating value for others. I'm talking about when we set out to defeat perceived evil, right? It's just putting a band-aid on the bottom of a leaky boat, right? And we'll find that there will always be another leak springing up, right? It just turns the wheel one click farther, right? If we prop ourselves up as a moral activist, right, fighting against the perceived evil, then we just are the other side of that polarity, right? And it doesn't do anything. Both of those polarities require each other to exist, right? So if you're fighting against Trump, you ain't doing shit. If you're fighting against fucking Biden, you ain't doing shit, right? you're just completing the polarity, right? You're just right. Polarity is unity in disguise. One needs the other. One side needs the other to exist, like light and day, light and dark, up and down, right? All of these are polarities that can exist in a monopole situation, right? And so when you make the psychological transformation, you operate from a position of love, right? Which is a superior virtue, right? Because it doesn't ask whether or not or how it will be received by others, right? How it will be perceived by others as whether it's good or not. It just is, right? A flower doesn't set out to be beautiful, right? It just is beautiful, right? So when you operate from the position of love, love doesn't have a polarity, right? Love is it's monopole. It's the monad, right? It is the source of everything, and so there's no you can't fucking be completing a polarity when you operate from a position of love, because there's just love, right? And so that's the psychological transformation, right? And some of these lifetime actors in the past, right, have been playing a role. Like we prop these guys up as heroes, but they're, again, right, it's just setting up this concept for it to be categorized and put in a box, right, as a way to be, right? And I'm referring to Gandhi, exactly, right, which is his. It's exactly right what he was doing, right? When he says, "Beat me, kill me, do what you can, because I'm not afraid to die," right? And when you relinquish your fear, right, of death or anything, right? Because all fear is related to some kind of diminishment of your life, right? And so it's exactly right. If you do not fear death, then death can't be used as a motivator for you, right? And that's how our civilization runs, right? There is this threat of death, constant threat of death, and it's perceived, right? It is a manufactured threat, right? For the most part. Not saying fucking contrast doesn't exist or danger doesn't exist. I'm saying that in our society, most of the threats that we, on aggregate, not me, on aggregate, fucking are worried about are manufactured for us, right? And so if we are unafraid, if we know who we are, we know that this vessel is just an avatar, right? This is our vehicle for creation. This is our tool, right? This is our apparatus, right? Our soul's apparatus for walking the earth. And so we can't be killed, right? It just, our body gets fucking, our body can die, but we cannot die, right? And this may sound all religious and shit, but the transcendental aspect of a component of the totality, right? Right. It's there, right? And our five senses, perhaps, can't pick it up, but we have extra senses, right? And the full perception apparatus is aware of the transcendental component of reality, right? Of the totality. Right? I don't like using that word reality because everyone's like, what is reality? We don't even know. And it doesn't even fucking matter what it is, right? If it's a simulation, if it's flat earth, which it isn't, if it's actually the cosmos, right? We're still here and we still have something to do. And so one thing I say is like all of this shit about it'll never change, right? It'll just go on like this forever, right? And we cycle in for our lessons and then cycle out. This actually has a limit, what we are doing, right? Because we're doing it wrong. Hey, you're doing that wrong. Let me show you, Let me show you how to do it. It's our behavior, right? It is the assumption, right, that our nature is selfish, right? It's the assumption that our nature is selfish that creates the pattern that we repeat that has a limit, right? And so the cycle gets closer and closer, right? The period of collapse, right? Because there's this periodic collapse if you look at history, right? The time between collapses gets closer and closer together, right? And so we are arriving at that point now that is what I describe as the singularity, right? It's not when AI gets fucking sentience, right? That's not the singularity. The singularity is when there's this point, right? There's this location in time at which if we make the wrong turn, right? If we do not do the right thing, then we'll be trapped in this forever. All right. I get tired of talking about it. Because look, I got a few fans, but I don't want fans, right? I want partners, right? I got, a few people interested in the topic, but it's always like just lip service, just like anything else. And so there is something to be done, right? And it is make the psychological transformation, right? Which is to recognize that our nature is not selfish, right? That we exist by exchanging with each other. And so a selfish mode of operation is defeating, right? And divisive, right? It actually wastes all of our juice, and gives it away. So yeah, our nature is to exchange, right? That's why we come here, right? That's our gift, right? Is that together we can embellish the cosmos. That's why we're here, right? And so all of the things that we do, right, that are lovely and amazing, right, like dancing or painting, or if you're a musical artist or any type of artist, and then all of the stuff that we do in functional teams too, all of that stuff is like, that's embellishment, but it's all canceled out, right? And gets all canceled out, right? Because of the damage that we do, right? And we're all culpable for the damage that is done by this civilization, which is, I'll just say it, fucking, that's why we come back, right? To balance the scales. But every time we come back, we don't balance the scales. We sign up again for this bullshit. And so what the motivation to sign up is the threat of death, right? And so we aren't, right, we aren't born into this. This isn't a sinner, right? We are born into sin, which is this artificial, this unnatural construct, right? This false reality, right? That is only exists in our minds. It only exists in our minds, right? And so that's what we're born into. We're born into this unnatural rhythm, right? That runs on this false assumption, right? That that others are a threat to us, right? And so once you fucking realize that that's the lie, that others are only a threat to us if we all believe the same thing, right? And so once you negate that, once you negate all of that, the behavior that results from fearing others, right? Of perceiving others as a threat to your own livelihood or life. Once you negate that, that is the psychological transformation. And so you cannot be motivated by fear. And so you won't sign up, right? You won't accept the offer. Oh, you guys, man, you guys. So it's already in us, right? And so we be the effect, right, that we want to create, right? Um, the opposite of is if this then that, is that then this, if you be uh, um, you be the effect, right? You be love, you just be love, right? Which is a non-polar fucking positioning, right? There's nothing that can rise up against you when you operate from a position of love. And because it doesn't cause the opposite effect, right? There is no polar aspect of love. And if you say that there is, such as if it's hate, right, then you're talking about mundane love, right? And that is a made up version of what we think love is, which is some kind of romantic love. And not that that doesn't exist, but this sacred union, right, that is possible between a male and a female, right? And we each have fucking male and female in us, right? I'm not saying fucking shit about the rare people who have mixed gender, right? That shit fucking happens. But it's like it's like me. I'm a jock and a nerd, right? For the most part, those are mutually exclusive. But for a rare few, they're combined, right? It's fucking rare. So you don't fucking readjust the whole society based on that. I don't want to get into that. But I'm just saying that one of the principles, the Hermetic principles, the last one is the principle of gender, right? And so this alchemical union of the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine, right, is the objective. And so when two individuals come together, right, they their powers of creation can become multiplied by 10, 20, 100-fold, right? More than just operating by oneself, right? But what I'm getting at, right, is that to we individually make this transformation, right? And we recognize that we live through exchange, and that what we exchange is the purpose for our being here, right? Which is to embellish the totality, right? It's to add novelty to this thing, right? To be boots on the ground, right? Hands in the dirt, right? Making stuff together, right? Not fucking hoarding, the toys in the sandbox and fucking smashing another kid over the head with your toy tree spade, right? That's not it. That's not it. I just wanted to say this again today. That our nature is to exchange value with each other, and so it defeats our purpose. It defeats our nature to compete with each other, right? Because every single one of us has something to offer, and if we take out any portion of the potential, right, then we're fucking holding ourselves back, right? There's no, right? And so that's not to say that competition has no place, right? I'm just saying that this making it do or die, right? Where there's winners and losers, and someone who's passionate about something, spent their whole life doing something, and then lost out to someone else, right? Then their whole, right? Well, then what was the value that they added if they're just everything that they did got negated and just pushed to the side because they didn't win the final fucking push, right? And you have to visualize, right, what it is that is. Like, we are all here to create. And there's a way that we can do it together. And this is the sacred exchange that I speak of. And so there really isn't anything to be done because we're already that. It's already us. We've only been fucking corrupted. We fell down, right? We're operating in safe mode, right? In survival mode. And it is, yeah. So you create a new exchange, right? The sacred exchange in which everyone is permitted to participate. And it's not a fucking free for all. It's not a meritocracy. It's just that if you go after something, it's not like you go to school. The one example of what I'm talking about is there wouldn't be any more fucking schools. The schools would be in creation, right? So if you want to fucking go towards a certain sector of what we make, because what we make is how you exchange shit. That's what we exchange. Everything that we make is how we exchange value with each other. If you want to go after it, then fucking we set up an exchange that permits that to happen. And so you can enter into a sector of, or a portion of, one of the things that we do, right, that we make, right, as human beings, if you're interested in it, and you can just start at the bottom and fucking learn, right? And then you can get to a certain level and perhaps laterally traverse to like learn about something else, right? But the more you learn, the more that is outputted, right? And so the anyway, I'm having trouble explaining it today. I just wanted to be out there for you guys today because there's a transformation happening with me. I I'm changing, right? And so this is, watch all of these videos and you'll comprehend, right? Today, as I said, I'm not, it's not a good day, so my mind is a little bit fucking off. And let's see if I can play the flute now. A little better. So, right, operate from a position of love, have no fear of death, recognize that our nature is to exchange value with each other, not to compete with each other, that competition doesn't improve the quality of our output. It actually just fucking saps half of our fucking energy, right? The quality of our output has a way higher chance as if everyone fucking gets to put in their fucking contribution, right? And we have the ability to make that happen, right? So the sacred exchange is our nature, right? So we be the effect that we want to create. We don't will the cause, right? We don't will it to happen, right? If I do this, then this will happen, right? We be the happening, right? Because will, as I said as I suggested in the title, right? Will is destiny, right? Will is division, right? Is a individualized fucking measurement of output, right? And so when we divide, right, that is against our nature, right? So this whole free will, right? We have free will, but like I said, right, will is the wrong way to go about it, right? I'm gonna will this into existence by just fucking going after it, you know. But instead, you be it, right? You be that thing, right?
So will is divisive, will is destiny, and that's what creates this wheel of karma that we are in, right? Is will, right? This is how they fucking trick us, you know. When you relinquish your sense of self, then your output is immeasurable, right? But when you are operating from a position of, if I work this hard, then I will get this much, right? Then that's a limited measurement, right? So do not measure. Willpower is an individuation of potential, right? And that just is destiny, right? We're all fulfilling our destiny, which is this wheel of karma, right? Fate is surrender, right? Uh, that's the way I see it, right? Uh, is that if we continue to operate inside of the system, not recognizing that anything that we do inside of it just adds to it and creates more problems, more leaks to fix, right? If we cannot recognize that will is what creates that, right? It will is what divides us in the system, right? Our will to claim this individual fucking action um, as your own, right? So that's destiny. That's our fucking destiny, and we, right? The wheel's turning. The wheel fucking turns. It's gonna turn a full revolution, right? We're almost complete with this current one, right? And getting closer and closer to the singularity, which is not AI sentience, but the point at which we can't fucking escape from it, right? Uh, we'll be locked in forever. Uh, that is destiny, and that is created through will, right? Stop fucking taking credit for your fucking output, right? Stop taking sides, right? That's just all fucking regular old fucking boring ass shit, right? Doesn't mean that you don't stop doing, that you stop doing, right? Doesn't mean that you stop because our nature is to exchange. It means that now you surrender and you surrender your sense of self. You surrender the sense of self and your output becomes immeasurable, right? So our nature is to exchange. So that's what we do, right? But the potential of that, of the value that we can create, is uh, unlimited, right? When we surrender our sense of psychological sense of self, our surrender this necessity to constantly protect our identities, right? That's what fucking putting band-aids on the leaky boat is, right? And it's a never-ending process. So individually, if you have an identity, you're going to spend your whole life fucking maintaining it and protecting it, right? And that's a limited fucking potential. That's your destiny. That's your destiny, right? Good life, die, right? Nothing changed. Wheel keeps turning, right? So the wheel has a limit, right? We're arriving at that point pretty soon, right? Which is the point at which we won't be able to get out of it, right? We don't fight it. We don't try to fix it. We create a fucking the sacred exchange, and we fucking turn that shit inside out. We pull it all the way through, right? And process it from a position of love into something that is in accordance with natural law, which is immeasurable potential. So, right, if you're new here and fucking you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, then go back to the beginning, right? Listen to all of these, but first listen to the podcast from one, right? Started it 3 years ago, goes 24 episodes. You'll see the progression, right? And you'll get enough fucking word ammo to be able to reproduce this yourself, right? Which is, our nature is not to be selfish, right? But it is to exchange, right? That is our fucking nature. That's what we do. That's how we live, right? We live through exchanging with each other. So we reestablished the sacred exchange, right? which is when you make the psychological transformation, you can recognize what that is, right? So yeah, I don't know how many times I got to say it, but I suppose I'm done making this argument now. I've proved it over and over and over again, right? If you listen from the beginning. So I guess I just keep coming in with what's coming out, you know. That's how I do it. And so it'll change a bit, and it might get more definitive on exactly what that is. So operate from a position of love, right? And it's like me saying that, go do it, right? But you have to stop protecting who you think you are, right? Right. You have to stop thinking that your will is the cause of what is happening, right? Right. That's division, right? That's individuation, right? The individual doesn't go away because we exchange. We're here to exchange. That's what makes it possible for us to embellish the cosmos, right? Is that we can walk around, right? And we can touch shit, right? Relinquishing your sense of self doesn't diminish you. It actually increases you by an order of magnitude, right? Increases your potential. So that then, this if, be the effect, and recognize that being the effect is just being love, right? Because love has no polarity. And you'll recognize also at that point then that fear goes away. And so, right, if I hadn't fucking had this hard life, I would just be regular, you know. I wouldn't have made these discoveries. I wouldn't have been in this position now to say this to you, and also to be in a position to create the sacred exchange, right? This is planting the seed. Then once we get a few people, we start to cultivate, right? And we create a source of value that, relative to the bullshit alternative, you know, the karmic wheel, is so much more attractive. Then everyone will come over, right? And the old way will be absorbed into and transmuted, right, into the sacred output, which is our purpose, right? And I'll leave you on what Krishnamurti says, right, about this, which is when you are, God is not. When you are not, God is, right? So relinquish your fucking sense of self and make your output go fucking through the roof, right? And not just in quantity. I mean, not in quantity, in quality, right? All right. So recognize that, right? That we can't fix that. We can't fix this leaky boat. Every time we fix something, something else springs up. The only way to do it is to abandon it, right? To abandon ship. And so we have a dinghy here, right? And there's all this driftwood around. We can make a raft, and then, you know, we can make it to shore, and we can start operating how we are intended to. And you know, I'm fucking getting tired, man, because taking hits, man, taking hits left and right, left and right, left and right. But I keep fucking coming, and you can't stop me, right? I can take some heavy hits, right? I got a fucking iron jaw. So getting better at fucking dodging that shit, though. Like, you know, bob and weave and fake right cross to the uppercut. But I love you guys. This is why I do this, right? It's not entertainment. It's maybe it's funny to y'all, but it is being love, being the effect, right? And be the effect that of, right? It's just retrocausality. Just be, right? What we are always intended to be. Anyway, a lot of love, and next time it's gonna change it up. I promise. I fucking promise. So see you next time, and you watch these from the beginning, right? If you're fresh, understand, right? The STW, save the world, is possible, right? It's not a fucking joke. This shit doesn't just go on forever unless we fix ourselves, right? Then it will go on forever. All right. Never ending supply of value. So next time, yeah, it'll change it up a bit. So I'll see you guys soon. Love.